Also in financial news today, JPMorgan made a surprise announcement. Bill Winters, the co-CEO of its investment bank, was leaving, and Jess Staley, who runs its asset management unit, was getting the job. So is Staley being groomed to take the reins from Jamie Dimon, as the company says? In fact, here's a direct quote from Dimon himself. "The timing was right to begin the succession process." Joining us now to discuss these changes is Bill Cohan, a former JPMorgan investment banker and the author of House of Cards, the best-selling book on the financial crisis. Bill, thanks for coming on.
Thank you, Matt.
You know, you and I were talking during the break. It's interesting that Dimon basically says this guy's being groomed as his successor, although Dimon's only 53, so it's a long way off for him to retire, you'd think. And then this guy's only 52.
The timing is curious, despite what they say. People like Bill Winters and Steve Black do not give up jobs like that very easily. It's interesting that Black is staying on. He'll be chairman for another year to sort of ease Jess Staley into the role. But it's curious because, you know, they're both the same age. Jess Staley is a very talented executive, so in that sense, it shows that JPMorgan has a deep bench. Bill Winters was also a very talented executive, so it's unfortunate that he's leaving the company to Joseph Cassano.
Which he also may do.
It turns out. But obviously there must have been some sort of power struggle because Bill Winters is a young guy, too.
Yeah, he's, I think, only 48 years old. He's been there for 25 years, so since he was about 23. Why would he be pushed out like this? And it was a pretty cold line from Jamie Dimon also saying, you know, thanks, it's been great working with you, and good luck. We wish you the best.
Well, there's nothing like a corporate announcement when it comes to succession planning. I mean, when it comes to Wall Street, not everyone can get to the top. Jess Staley ran a very good business in asset management and is you know, they're both from the JPMorgan side of the ledger, which is interesting, too. You know, people
as opposed to Chase or as opposed to Bear?
As opposed to the Chase, well, Bear people are basically non-existent over there at the moment. As opposed to the Chase side, as opposed to the Bank One side, it's could be, you know, the JPMorgan people are on the ascendancy at the moment there. Look, Jess did a great job. Bill Winters and Steve Black did a great job getting JPMorgan through the crisis in the last couple of years. You know, it's unfortunate not everybody can get to the top, and I don't know whether Jess Staley's going to get there, but this clearly is a situation where they're grooming him by giving him this experience.
Let me just quickly break in here and point out that we're looking at Nike coming out with first quarter EPS of $1.04 a share. That's versus an estimate of 97 cents a share. So Nike beating there. Courtney, what else do you see here in the Nike headlines?
Yeah, I'm also looking at revenues right now. Revenues coming in at $4.8 billion. Our estimates sales was for $4.89 billion. That's down 12% from the prior year, down 7% excluding currency changes. Inventories, too, that's another key figure that we were looking at. Inventories down about 7% from the prior year. Gross margins coming in at 46%. That's what a lot of analysts were expecting around that particular amount. But gross margins, that has been key for investors because margins have been trending up since 2000, but I'm going to continue to keep looking at the release for you, Matt, and I'll have more shortly.
All right, Court, thanks very much. We get back here to Bill Cohan and talking. You know, let me quickly ask you about this breaking story that we've got on Bloomberg since we ran into Joseph Cassano up in Connecticut. He ran the FP unit for AIG. Obviously, a lot of people have been wondering where he was. What's the deal with this guy? Is he liable here? Is he going to get in trouble?
Well, I'm no prosecutor, but certainly there are a lot of people who blame him for what went wrong here and the risks that we're taking. You know, I don't know whether, you know, a guy like Cassano is to blame or the executives above him. Martin Sullivan, Bob Willemstad, who had the responsibility to rein him in as opposed to just letting him run rampant and continue to write credit default swaps when AIG's credit rating was falling, which meant that they had to put up more collateral than they otherwise would have when they were AAA rated. It's a big problem.
You don't mention Greenberg. I mean, who really got them into this
Well, Greenberg
business?
Absolutely started the, you know, financial products division. But as he would say, and just, you know, not to take his line, but what he would say is when I ran the company, it's a AAA-rated company. We didn't have to put up collateral when we wrote those credit default swaps. They were just a good business where we took the premium and we managed that risk, and we never lost a dime writing those credit default swaps when I was running the company. Then I left, and my successors, you know, managed to mess it up and didn't rein in Cassano, and that's what I think is the big issue here. And you know, whether he has direct liability or not is up for grand juries and people like that to figure out.
Well, I mean, what I was asking was, do you think a lot of people are saying he's the one responsible for the losses that had run wild there?
Yes, but my point is, is he just doing his job, i.e. to generate supposed profits for the company, and should the risk managers at the firm, the CEO, the CFO, whoever is responsible for risk at AIG, be doing what's necessary to rein him in? And I don't think that happened either.
One question being debated in Congress right now, should pay packages be changed so that people aren't incentivized to take risks? I mean, do you think this was maybe an issue at AIG?
Absolutely. It was an issue across Wall Street where there was no accountability for the pay that bankers, traders, and people like Joe Cassano made. They were incentivized to generate as much revenue as they possibly could, as quickly as they possibly could, without any accountability for the kind of revenue or the quality of the revenue, or whether it led to huge losses or, created this cancerous effect that was spread around the whole world. I think that's a big problem, which still does not seem to be addressed at the moment.
On the other hand, it could be kind of a backlash problem against the banks that we want to get money back from, right? I mean, Bank of America and Citi could get hurt by the fact that their compensation packages will be limited, where other people can come in and steal their talent.
And that is definitely a competitive disadvantage, and it may be an unintended consequence of us owning such big chunks of these firms. We want them to outperform vis-a-vis Goldman Sachs, not underperform. So we want them to have the best people that they possibly can. Often there are unintended consequences, and this looks like we're headed towards another one.
All right. Hey, Bill, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Matt.
Bill Cohan there, author of House of Cards.